First, there was trash. But then, Sherlock Holmes to the rescue.
Hi and welcome back to my channel. And today we are going to be talking about a very important topic if you ever come to Korea or decide to live in Korea for any amount of time. And that is trash. So trash in Korea is slightly different from the way it's done in some other countries, and so far I've lived in 3 other places, which is India, US and Germany, where I was for a few months and I got to see how their trash system is, which I believe is a bit more similar to Korea than the other 2 countries that I've lived in. So in Korea, you have to separate the trash into every different thing. There's a category for a lot of things and you must separate it. And when you go out on the streets in Korea, you don't really see a lot of trash cans, but you don't see a lot of trash lying around as well. So what do people do with all of their trash? They just carry it with them. Now comes the very important thing. How do you separate the trash in Korea? So in Korea, the base kind of trash is called 일반 쓰레기, which is just general trash. And you have to buy specific trash bags for that. And here's the tricky thing. You can only buy 일반 쓰레기 bags in the district that you're living in. So for instance, I go to Seoul National University, which is in Kwanag-gu. So I have to buy trash bags from this district. I can't buy trash bags from, say, another district and then try to dispose them off over here. So I have some examples to show you. So this is a set of trash bags that I bought, and this is the 10-liter trash bag. It's called Kwanag-gu Chongjang. So these are specifically meant for my district. And these are sort of the ones that I use for most things because I don't really create a lot of trash, which is a good thing. But yeah, that's why I don't really need big trash cans or trash bags. Then if you go grocery shopping over here and say you don't have a bag, so what do? They won't just give you any plastic bag to just bag your bags like you would do in, say, Walmart or Target. They will give you trash bags to bag everything so that you can use them further on when you have to actually dispose of your trash. So these are good because there's actually a handle. These ones, on the other hand, only have ties, so you can just tie up your trash and then throw it in the designated location. But these have a handle, so you can actually carry them home. And again, here you'll see it says Kwanag-gu, so it has to be from my district. There was one time when I was shopping in the Yongsan iPark Mall, because the E-Mart over there is really big and it has a wide selection of just food, other things and all. So I decided, I'm there, might as well get some food. But I didn't have any reusable bags with me, which is what I usually carry whenever I go grocery shopping. I had to resort to getting one of the trash bags, which now I cannot use for trash because it's Yongsan-gu. So unless I'm going to fill this up with trash, go to Yongsan and then dispose it off in a big dumpster over there, this is just going to be recycled. So the second category of trash is 음식물 쓰레기, which means food trash. So depending on where you live, the way 음식물 쓰레기 or food waste is disposed of is very different. For instance, I actually live in university housing, and here I will show you in a clip that I will insert at the end of this video about how the disposal is done below in the basement. But we don't use bags for food waste. Rather, there are these big bins where you're supposed to take your food waste down and just like dispose off the food waste into the bin. And then there's another bin where you put usually the plastic bag or whatever that you've used to keep the food in until you dispose it off, and you put that in that particular bin, which is made for those specific plastic bags because those cannot be recycled because it has food waste on it. And that's it. On the other hand, what I originally thought was going to be done over here is this. So these are specific bags which are meant to be only for 음식물 쓰레기. So you have to fill these up with whatever food waste you have, and you have to leave it outside in a particular designated area only on the days that food waste is allowed to be taken out. So that's another important thing about Korea. Depending on where you live, there's a certain schedule that you have to adhere to in terms of disposing of trash. So you can't say be putting out your trash all times of the day, all days of the week. You have to stick to the schedule. It's a little bit better for me because I live in, say, not exactly an apartment building, but it's sort of a university subsidized apartment building. So I can just go down and put my trash in the specific designated areas whenever I want, which is really useful. Now, here's a tip that you can use for umshik mulsareki that I think a lot of people do over here, because Korea is a humid place. And that's coming from me. I'm from Mumbai. We are so humid over there. And Korea can get really, really humid in the summer, which means food spoils really easily. So the solution to this is buying one of those little tiny desk trash cans and then putting them in the freezer and putting your food waste in there. Now, this works specifically for people who have very little food waste, or it can also work for people who have more food waste. You'll just have to take it out more often than I do. And I don't really cook as much at home, so I don't really get a lot of food waste. So this system really works. So the advantages of doing this is that, one, your trash does not start smelling, because if you have your trash out, obviously it's going to be starting to smell in a little while, and that's not a smell you want to enter your house with. So yeah, I just put it in the freezer, and that just like freezes up all of the trash as it goes by. And then every few days I just take that bag, I go down and I just empty it into the bin, and that's it. And the nice thing is that because it is frozen, people who have gag reflex, this is really useful because sometimes it can get quite smelly down there. So yeah, do this and you will avoid all the smells. The other thing to remember about trash is that for umshik mulsireki, not everything that is food waste goes in that. So that's another thing I found out after a little while, is that eggshells, for instance, can't really go into the umshik mulsireki, and animal bones also don't go into umshik mulsireki. So whenever, say, you're getting chicken and you have chicken bones lying around, those will go into ilgan sireki instead of the umshik mulsireki. So what I've heard that they do with umshik mulsireki sometimes is they take all of that food waste and then they make animal fodder for it from it. So you can't put things that can't go into animal fodder in the umshik mulsireki. Now we come to the most important thing about trash in Korea, the recycling. And it is intense. It is so intense. So as a contrast, in America, when you have to recycle things, there's just one big bin, which is trash, and there's another big bin, which is recycling. You don't actually have to separate, say, your plastics, your aluminum, your metals, and your glass. It's just separated at the facility. Korea is not like that. In Korea, you have to separate out your trash by all different categories. So I will, again, insert the clip right after this about what the different categories are. And for instance, I'm having this lovely Starbucks latte, and here it says Pinel. So it's a particular bin that you put in this kind of plastic, and then there's like the PET plastic goes in another bin, and you should separate out like the little tiny things, or if there's like a paper surrounding a bottle or any other mixture of different items, you usually separate those two and then you recycle them accordingly. And there are signs pretty much everywhere around the building saying that you are being watched. I know that sounds creepier than it's supposed to be, but they basically have CCTVs down there so that they make sure that people are not just throwing trash willy-nilly, and it's going in the appropriate location. So the big bags go where they're supposed to go, the food waste is supposed to go where it's supposed to go, and then the recyclables are separated accordingly. There's also space down below, which I will show, which is designated for bigger items. So say you have a really old chair or a sofa or a fan or something big that you need to dispose of. So the way that you have to do this, I haven't had to do it so far because I haven't moved. But the way that you have to do this is you actually have to register it as, okay, this is a big ticket item that I need to get disposed of, and you put like a sticker on it, and then you leave it in the designated spot, and then they will come and take it away. And again, the exact procedure changes depending on exactly where you live, but generally that's the way you do it. So you can't just leave your stuff out in the open and be done with it. But yeah, there's always designated spots for this. One other thing, when you go to restaurants as well, especially coffee shops, because they are everywhere. So do check out my cafe culture in Korea video for this, which I'll leave a link somewhere over there, I think there, for it. And in coffee shops or even other restaurants where you might have to self-dispose of your trays, like fast food restaurants, there'll be a location where you have to put down your drinks. But the way to dispose your drinks properly is to actually pour down the water and the ice cubes into a particular area, which is specifically meant for all the liquids. And then your empty plastic can, you can just set it and then they'll take care of it. So they don't have to literally empty everything if there is water remaining or ice cubes remaining. So they just want to make sure that the liquids are separated from the dry waste. So there's basically a strainer in a waste basket. So you put your food waste on top of it and then let it strain all the water, so you can just separate it out and then dispose off of the food waste. And then the water you can just throw away as you would normally do with stagnant water. So that's it for today's video on trash in Korea. If you have any other questions about trash in Korea or any other questions about life in Korea, do leave it in the comments down below. And this is my first time actually trying to promote it, but please like, comment, subscribe and share this video if you want to see more about life in Korea or anything else that you might want to know. So until next time, bye! And because I'm filming this on Ganesh Chaturthi, a very happy Ganesh Chaturthi to everyone who is watching. So I'm about to go get groceries and I thought, hey, let me take the trash out. So let me show you how I did that. So here we are, and ta-da! So this here are the food waste bins, and then that's the bin where you put in just your plastic bags once you finish dumping your food into these. So here are all bins. So these are specifically for plastic bags, so small plastic things. This one only for small size paper, bigger plastic items, and it can include other plastic things as well. Sometimes people leave other stuff that they need to throw out. And then here we have glass, can, and a huge pile of clothes. So the reason why this is overflowing right now is because it's sort of the end of the school year-ish. So a lot of people are throwing away a lot of stuff. Then here we have styrofoam, and I'm not quite sure what those other big bags over there are. But yeah, so styrofoam goes here. Big boxes go over here. These are like not broken down right now, but after a while they will be. And then we have larger household items in this area. Then mattresses and other items. And yeah, so that is how you do trash in Korea.